Good morning, and welcome to day 1 of the Linden Denim Shorts Sew-Along by Sew a Little Seam Patterns. Today, we are going to jump right in by familiarizing ourselves with our pattern pieces, cutting into our fabric, and applying the interfacing. If you have yet to acquire the pattern, you can do so by clicking on the link in the post above. While you are on the Sew a Little Seam website, I recommend that you take a look at the other tester versions and you can see all of the options that this pattern has. And it has a multitude of options. In this tutorial, we will be covering the jean option, which has the coin pocket in the front and the yoke in the back. But it can also be sewn as a flat front chino style shorts or skirt, a denim skirt, or sewn with knit fabric as a knit shorts. After you download your pattern, I recommend that you read through the pattern instruction tutorial. You may not feel that it is necessary to do so because you are following along with this tutorial, but I do recommend that you read the pattern instructions. They are beautifully designed and fully comprehensive. There is information in there that can be very helpful for you in avoiding pitfalls along the way while you're constructing your project. One of the things that they discuss in the instructions are alterations. Many of the alterations that you may need to make, we will be making together in the tutorial videos as we move through construction. We will construct the shorts in part, try them on, and then remove ease to help achieve a proper fit. One of the alterations that you may need to make before cutting into your fabric is adjusting for rise. This pattern was designed for a height of 5'5" to 5'9". So if your height falls to either extreme, beyond that range, you may need to either lengthen or shorten the rise of the shorts in order for the waistband to hit in the place that it is intended to fit. Another thing that you will find in the instructions is the handy print guide. Because the pattern has so many options, you do not want to print the entire pattern. It is unnecessary and it is very lengthy. So use the print guide to print only the jean styling option. You'll be printing the coin pocket, the back yoke, so just follow the print guide and print the pages that you will need for this tutorial only. It will also talk about grading between sizes. I do recommend that you grade between sizes. It will show you how to do that easily within the instructions. For instance, if your waist size is a different size than your hip size, you will want the pattern to nip in at the waist in order for the waistband to be the correct size and for them to fit as they're intended. So let's talk about measurement for a minute. In order to achieve a proper fit, we need to first measure properly. You will need 3 measurements to determine your size in this pattern: high hip, hip, and thigh. The high hip measurement may be one that you are less familiar with, and it will be just below your navel at the top of your hip bones where your waistband often falls, or the waistband will fall on your completed project here. I'll show you my denim jeans I'm wearing now. You can see my hip bone just below my navel. This is high hip. Your hip measurement will be the widest part around your hips, and your thigh measurement will be the widest part around your thighs. If you are still gathering supplies for this project, never fear. I have decided to extend the date of the end of the sew-along a full 7 days beyond the completion of the tutorial videos. The sew-along will end on September 3rd. I wanted to allow this time for everyone to not feel rushed while they're completing their details on their garment. So if you are still gathering supplies, please watch the supply video to make sure that you have everything on hand that you will need, and I will link that in the post above. One supply that I failed to mention in that video was the woven fabric that you will need to construct the pocket bags. So this will be the inside of your pocket, and it can be any woven fabric. In the tutorial, I used a rayon challis, and I chose white because when I add holes to my denim, I don't want the printer color of the fabric to show through the holes. If you are not adding holes to your denim, then this can be a fun opportunity to individualize your project by choosing a fabric that expresses your personality. It can be a quilting cotton or any woven at all. I will also be sharing a separate video today for tips on top stitching. The top stitching on this project is very visible and is integral in achieving a professional result. So if you are unfamiliar with top stitching, go ahead and watch the additional video that I'll post today, and I'll show you a couple ways to help ensure professional results. All right, let's move over to the cutting table. We'll take a look at our pattern pieces and we'll dive right in. I have my denim fabric laid out here with the selvage along this edge. The selvage is the natural finish along the side of the fabric, and the cut edge is here. The direction of greatest stretch on my fabric runs parallel to the cut edge, perpendicular to the selvage, so it runs this way. The grain line runs opposite. The grain line runs this way, parallel to the selvage. Grain line on these denim shorts is more important than grain line on knit projects that you have done in the past. You can see that the selvage is here. The grain line will always run exactly parallel to the selvage. So the grain line is right here. Each of your pattern pieces, even the smaller ones, will have a grain line indicator arrow. You will want to pay special attention to make sure that the grain line arrow is indeed lined up with the grain line of your fabric. It can be tempting if you have small pieces of fabric left that you will want to perhaps lay it askew and use those to conserve your fabric. I recommend that you do not, that you keep the grain line arrow running in the exact same direction as the grain line of your fabric. Now for the waistband, you can see the grain line here. So if I kept the grain line parallel with my ruler, with my selvage, you can see that the waistband is a little bit at an angle. And it does eat up a little bit more of your fabric. It would conserve more fabric if I place the waistband here, but you should pay special attention to keep the grain line lined up. And on your main short pieces, both front and back, you will see the grain line here. Ensure that it is lined up as well. Now I cut my short pieces, both the front and the back of the shorts. I cut them one at a time. Now I will need 2 mirror imaged pieces, and often when I need that, I will fold my fabric in half and cut 2 pieces at the same time. I do not do this when I'm working with denim to ensure that the grain line is always lined up. It's a little bit more difficult when you have your fabric folded over. So I cut one back piece like this. Ensure that if you cut one with the words on your pattern piece facing up, that you flip it and place the words facing down, and cut one in this direction, and that will ensure 2 mirror imaged pieces. It takes a little extra time, but it is well worth it. We will begin today by taking a closer look at our pattern pieces and how they will be cut out of our fabric. These are the denim accessory pieces that you will be cutting out. There are the belt loops here. Pay special attention to the grain line, especially if you are using a stretch denim fabric, as you do not want your belt loops to be able to stretch along the length, or they will stretch out and appear longer than what you want them to appear. So you want the stretch running this way across your belt loop and for the grain line to be running up and down. So you have 2 mirror imaged back yoke denim pieces, 1 fly shield, and this is cut on the fold so that when you open it, it looks like this. Now I prefer to keep my pattern pieces clipped to my fabric pieces when I have so many small pieces so that they don't get mixed up. They're easily identifiable. I have my back patch pockets, 2 mirror imaged pocket pieces, the curved pocket facings, again 2 mirror imaged pieces, and 1 coin pocket. This is my waistband piece. You will be cutting 2 mirror imaged waistband pieces out of the denim. You will also be instructed to cut 2 mirror imaged pieces out of your lining fabric. Some choose to use a cotton woven or a woven fabric with a print as their lining fabric. I prefer to use denim. I like the stability that it gives the waistband, so I line my waistband with an additional 2 mirror imaged pieces of the denim fabric. You will also need 2 mirror imaged pieces of your shorts front pattern piece and the shorts back pattern piece. Now you can see here that I have my pattern cut on the 5-inch inseam line, but that I cut the fabric 2 inches longer. The reason I did that is because I'm going to be folding them up 1 inch. They will also be fraying a bit and I will lose a little bit of length there. Also, when I adjust for fit on my earlier pairs, I lost a small amount of length. So I like to give myself the additional 2 inches in length, and if they're a little bit longer than what I prefer, I simply trim them once they're finished. So you have your back shorts pattern piece here. I also added the 2 inches in length to the hemline, and you will want to cut this pattern piece on the waistline indicated for the yoke. We will be adding the jean yoke to this waistline, and so you will want to cut the waistline for the yoke. Here are the pattern pieces that you will have that will not be cut out of denim. You will have interfacing pieces of the waistband, cut 2 pieces mirror image. Now the interfacing is fusible, and so it has a glue side and a non-adhesive side, so it is important that you cut these mirror image, but you do not need to pay attention to grain line or anything like that. But you do want the mirror image. 2 fly interfacing, cut mirror image. 2 patch pocket interfacing pieces, and 1 coin pocket interfacing piece. These are all cut out of your medium weight fusible interfacing. Now, the pocket lining is cut out of a woven fabric. I have chosen white because if I choose to distress this pair and add holes, I don't want a patterned woven fabric showing through the holes. I want only white showing behind, and so I have chosen white for my pockets. This is a rayon chelly, and these are cut on the fold. So I have 2 here. When I open them, you can see there's a fold here. The fold is indicated right here, the fold line, and you will need to cut 2 pocket lining pieces on the fold. We will begin today by applying our fusible interfacing to our fabric pieces. I have my short fronts here. You can see the fly extension on both of the short front pieces. You will be applying the fly interfacing pieces to the fly extension, ironing them with a medium to high iron and applying them to the wrong side of the fabric for both of your short front fly extensions. You will use that same method to apply the rest of the interfacing. You will have 2 pieces of waistband interfacing that you will apply to your 2 pieces of waistband denim. You will have a coin pocket interfacing piece. which you will apply to the wrong side of the fabric, always the wrong side, along the top edge of the back of the coin pocket. The same with the back patch pockets. You turn them to the wrong side. You will apply the interfacing along the top of the back of the pocket and the fly shield. Your denim piece of fly shield is cut on the fold. So it will look like this once you open it. The interfacing piece, however, is not cut on the fold. You will simply place it covering half of the piece of the denim of the fly shield and iron to fuse it on. It doesn't matter which side of the fly shield denim piece you place the interfacing, as long as it is on half.